Well, hello again, citizens. It is I, Fist-25, and today we're going to bring you a video I did like 4 years ago about this giant behemoth of a ship behind me, the MISC Starfarer, refueling ship in Star Citizen. I can't believe it's actually been 4 years. I made it in 2021. And it was patched 3.14 before refueling was even a thing. So it's high time we're due for an update. And the reason we're doing an update is not because refueling works, because anybody who's ever tried to refuel knows refueling sucks. But I am making a ship map for the Starfarer because it has been requested, and it is probably the most confusing ship in the game. At least to me, to get around in and figure out. And I've been intimately familiar with this ship for the past week or so, building the map, a feature now found at fistandjawa.org. So I am going to do a part of the video on the map, and hopefully by the time this video is live, the map will also be live and ready for your consumption. So we're going to get into the MISC Starfarer, and I'll bring up the Gemini as well, and we'll just go over what missiles that the Gemini has and that kind of fun stuff. And yeah, let's drop that intro and get to it. All right, so here we are in my hangar, and this video hopefully is going to be quite a bit different from the first video I did on the MISC Starfarer. It does actually have a really cool look to it. If you look at it, it sits on these 4 landing gear, which are really skids, and it kind of just exudes one, a very MISC vibe, but also like a Hulk vibe. You know, it's got this Hulk-like head, almost like a turtle, right? I don't want to compare it to the Terrapin because the Terrapin is in fact a worse ship, but it you know, kind of has this turtle head thing poking out, and it looks very strong and very armored. It's not, but it has some things going for it, I guess. It can refuel other ships sometimes. Probably the best UI of anything CIG's ever done. As far as like a new UI, I wish it was repeated in other things, but yeah, let's get to it. So look, we're here on the port side of it. Oh, squirrel, getting party invites while I'm filming the video. Sorry, Squirrel Lord. You can see that there are 2 M6A, I believe those are size 4 guns on the port side of the ship forward. And there are 2 on the starboard side. Those are both pilot controlled guns. It's the only guns the pilot actually controls on the Starfarer. We can see some kind of venting or a thruster or something like that as well up there. Now the Starfarer is, well, refueling does work sort of. This ship has not been updated at all. It doesn't have any components inside of it. There's no storage in there. Like, it needs a rework, but it needs a pass. So there's just not a whole lot going for it. There is a docking collar down here, and you can jump out of it if you want. As far as I know, you know, you can't actually dock to a station with it. So, but one day in the future, we'll be able to dock. It's such a weird place. It's on the bottom of the Starfarer. I would expect it to be on the top, to be quite honest. As we walk around this large ship, notice those landing gear are fairly large. It's got the very silver paint job of MISC, a very stainless steel industrial type of look. And it does have these big 4 fuel pods out here. I'm sorry, there's there's 8 in total, but you can only change these 6 over here, right? I don't think you can change these 4 ones at all, to my knowledge. If you know, if you can, please put it in the comments. But you can go to places like Hurl 5 and you can, and Dumpers Depot and things like that. And you can buy new fuel tanks that either transfer more or actually hold more fuel so you can do longer fuel ops. And you do have to refuel these fuel tanks separately than you would just refuel your ship. It is kind of odd. As we look at the back of the ship, you see these three big engines, and this one appears to be on even though the ship's not on, and then there's one more on the starboard, one more on port. You'll also notice up here, it's kind of hard to see, but up here that is a manned turret. This turret is on the port side, and you will be upside down on this ventral turret, and you fire with a rear firing arc. There is a sister turret over here on the starboard side as well. Also on the back is the fuel boom. This little boom here extends when it's time to do refueling operations, and it kind of is what docks with other ships to give them gas. Also kind of hard to see, there is an exterior catwalk up there, which we're going to be on pretty quickly into the video, and that's where you're going to walk around if you want to conduct refueling operations outside. You can either do them inside on the bridge or outside on the catwalk. There's also 4 other terminals, even though there's 6 fuel pods that control the intake, the outtake of fuel transferring into the different fuel pods. So another interesting tidbit there for the MISC Starfarer. It is a symmetrical ship, so the starboard side is identical to the port side. The one thing we haven't really touched on, let me see if I can back up here. See it? We saw it at the very beginning of the video, and I don't know if we're going to get to see it here again. I'll have to run around to the front side of the ship. My apologies. But there is a third manned turret for the Starfarer, and the shoulders of this ship are blocking the view of it right now. But there it is up top. It is a forward mounted manned turret with 2 size 4s laser repeaters on that guy, and those are CF447 Rhino laser repeaters. And the turrets in the back are size 3 CF337 Panther laser repeaters. All right, let's make our way to the only entrance and one of the exit points for Starfarer, and that is the back ramp, which you can access on the starboard side at the ramp access button. All right, folks, a quick cut in here. I did want to show off the Starfarer Gemini before we go further in the video or finish the video. I just pulled it up, and this is actually the ship we're going to use to make the refueling tutorial video. But the Starfarer Gemini is a variant of the Starfarer, and as you can tell by looking at the front here, it's got some more weapons up here. It's got a bunch of missiles on the front of the Starfarer, and I believe they are size 3. Yeah, they contain 9, kind of an odd number, Arrestor 3 cross-section missiles, and they should all be pilot controlled as well. Other than that, I haven't done a real deep dive. There should be no differences. Actually, the main turret up on the top, another difference is those are size 5s. So those 2 guns up there are CF557 Galderines. Where on the main Starfarer, those are Rhinos, they're size 4. They might have a few different components when it comes down to it, but it's not like you can replace them anyway. So, yeah, so a difference with the Starfarer Gemini. But let's go into actual first-person view. The rest of the ship is, for all intents and purposes, the exact same. I believe it is lit a little bit differently than the base Starfarer. I mean, as you can see on the back, it's all this stuff is the same. And the layout of the Gemini is also going to be the same. I'm just not sure if it has more armor or anything like that. I do want to head up towards the cockpit area. If the doors will behave, which, there we go. They weren't. And every time. Nope, don't climb the ladder. Nope, don't climb the ladder. What a pain that was. CIG, which is notice how much brighter it is in this in the Gemini, and the monitors work and things like that. So the lighting pass on the Gemini is much better than lighting in the base Starfarer. But just to start it up real quick and go into missile operator mode. Yes, we have 9 Arrestor 3s up there available to us as the pilot. So thanks for watching that part. Other than that, same exact video. Stay tuned for the rest of this one. Now the cargo bay, I think it fits 291 SCU into the Starfarer. It is quite large, and it has a ramp, so you can actually bring some vehicles in here, and you could technically do some storage missions in here. It is pretty nice. It's pretty neat, and yeah, you can do a lot in there. So let's go ahead and close this ramp up. The ramp is also pretty darn quick. I do like the red lights in the Starfarer and just the general ambiance. It doesn't really get much brighter when you turn power on. That's sort of a downside. I believe someone told me that the Starfarer was designed as a FPS map, basically, and the reason it's designed as dumb as it is designed is because it's meant to have kind of a linear flow and to have areas where you can hide and snipe and kill people. And that's just not very good design for a ship, especially for function. So that's why I say it needs a rework. But I'm pretty darn familiar with it now. And yeah, we're going to take a quick tour of this ship. So I'm going to go ahead and put my helmet on here so I can use my flashlight. As we walk around the ship, it's got a lot of really cool art, but it doesn't just really do anything. Like all this cargo storage, things that look like storage lockers, but they aren't. There's actually no ship storage that I found on this guy. There are jump seats, which actually function as seats on the starboard side and on the port side of the cargo bay. But like that thing that says manual control, that doesn't do anything. These pipes and all these other things you think where components might be and things like that, yeah, none of that stuff's here. Now the Starfarer was actually designed to also take in fuel. It was designed to suck in hydrogen, as well as I think, don't quote me, I think refine it. I don't know if you really need to refine it. It's probably just process it, and this is that area that processes the hydrogen and stores it. And then you can transfer that to your fuel tanks and then refuel other ships with hydrogen. This is not a ship that's going to do quantum fuel, to my knowledge. Over here, a fire extinguisher, which we're going to need one day if they ever get engineering implemented into the game. So this first deck here, we call the cargo deck. Right? I'm calling that because that's what I call it on the map, because this is where the cargo goes. There is not much to this deck. You can see up here, and it may be kind of hard to see, there is a catwalk up here on the second deck of the ship. The cargo area, you can see that they're kind of sniper positions. You can fire down on them. Notice there's a ladder up there. There's like an overlook up here and an overlook up there. That thing forms a big square up there, and it's one of the ways where you transit around the deck. Moving forward on this first deck, the cargo deck, we have a long passageway with nothing in it. Would be probably a decent spot to do anything like components or something like that, but there's nothing in there. And then we get up to this forward area, and that is the docking collar right here, which it does open, and you can jump down to the hangar floor if I wanted to. There's nothing else of interest in here whatsoever. That's a cool looking door. It got some cool green light, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't go anywhere. Same thing over here. There's no controls. You can't get in there. So it's really just artwork. Okay, moving aft. We're done with the first deck. That's it for the cargo deck. You're gonna be like, hey, this is a big ass ship. Wow, what do I do from here? Well, there is a single point of going up and down from this deck, deck 1, up to the what I call the bridge deck. But one of the two main decks really is the second deck, and that is this door right here, which leads to, surprise, surprise, stairs on a modern Star Citizen ship. So we're going to go ahead and transit these stairs, and now we are on, it says lock 1, but now we are on deck 2. We're going to come up against two doors here. We're really going to go through this door, but right now we're going to go through this door and just take a look at the catwalk. We're now on the starboard catwalk, looking forward. This catwalk does transit forward. You can go into this door, and now we're even more forward on the ship. Up here is the bridge. You have an overlook of the cargo deck. That's about it over here. There is a ladder here that goes up to the third deck, which I call the maintenance deck. Let's keep going back aft though and continue the tour of the Starfarer. I'm going this way because over here is where that catwalk is on the second deck. We do have a view here looking forward. We can overlook the cargo area. There's no terminal or anything here. I would imagine this is kind of where cargo ops would be, but not really. It's really just an observation deck. Of course, there's no interactions or anything like that. If we open this door and then open it says airlock, but there's no airlock there. If we open this door, hey, we're on the catwalk up here, where we can shoot people down there, or we can again transit forward over there, which we'll go over there real quick. And up here, hey, we're back in midships. This is where I would imagine cargo ops would be. This is a terminal that's kind of custom made for it. Up here is the bridge and the escape pods. But one of the only ways up, it's kind of confusing, right? Oh, look, there's another set of stairs over here. Very confusing in the Starfarer. So you go up the starboard side, you go up stairs through that door, up around that side. To go up to the third deck using the stairs, you go to the port side. You go up these stairs, up to the maintenance deck. Very odd design, but I can see how it would be useful for like an FPS map. So let's go ahead and head back aft. We're going to go center line here. We're going to open this door, and now we can see the exterior catwalk. And now we're technically outside of the ship. This is, you do have gravity out here, even in space, but there is no air out here, so we are in open atmosphere. Over here on the port side, there is an elevator right here. Last time I used this elevator, I actually got stuck halfway through the ship, like right here, and I died. Well, I didn't die, but I got stuck in the ship, and I had to log out and come back in, and then I was able to use it again. Also, the last time I used this lift, on this side specifically, that worked. I used the elevator, I went up, and I took a bunch of damage because my head hit something, which is really odd. Anyway, this elevator takes you up to the third deck up here, and we're going to be up there later. There's also the same exact lift on the starboard side. So if we have the elevator go up and just take you up to that third deck, and then you can call the elevator down this way, and it comes and gets you. So that's another way to transit up to the third deck. So there's 4 different ways on this level to transit to the maintenance deck. And that is that ladder up forward on the starboard side, the stairway, and then these 2 lifts right here. These lifts will actually take you over by the gravity drive. So heading back aft, we can see that there's all these big fuel pods and all this stuff connected over here. There's actually nothing over here to do at all. It's really cool looking art, and these fuel pods have all this plumbing connected. Oh, there's the extra fuel panels. Okay, I may have to actually adjust my map, but over here, these fuel panels, that's a lot of light on them. A lot of light on them. These fuel panels, and I'm we're going to take a screenshot live while I'm working on my map. That fuel panel right here, if you actually go into it, now you can't hit detach and detach my fuel pod out here, but you can actually transfer fuel out of the pod by hitting the up arrow, into the pod by hitting the down arrow, or hit stop to stop transferring from fuel pod P1. Fuel pod S and port 1 and starboard 1. That's P1 and S1. I am quite surprised they actually use port and starboard on here. But yeah, so another screenshot on there. So it does the exact same thing. And it also tells you what fuel pod's connected. This is a GSX RF. This is a CR60. The GSX is an upgraded fuel pod. Now these fuel pods over here, if they are fuel pods, maybe they're quantum fuel pods, maybe they're just the internal ship fuel pods, I don't know. But you can't mess with those. There's no terminal for those. If we keep moving aft, we're going to get to the main terminal here in just a sec, but there's also two other terminals over here, and they control these other pods. This one is an upgraded pod, GSX-RF. This one's a standard pod, the CR60. And they all do the same thing. It's all the same interface, and you don't actually go into the interface, you just hold F and you click on the buttons. That's how that works. It is pretty cool when you actually see some of the fuel out here, because that boom extends that. Here is one of the main fuel terminals. The other terminal is on this level. It's all the way up in the bridge, which is all the way forward. This terminal itself, we're going to go ahead and hit F, and we're going to go into the terminal. See, it has a refining option, but you can't do anything. You can only go to refueling. So I don't know if it's supposed to refine hydrogen. I should probably look that up. But I'm sorry, refine quantum fuel. I don't think so. But hey, maybe it's. I think maybe it's supposed to get gas back from quantum. It's supposed to be a gas and not come from a rock or something. I'm not sure what they're going to do with this ship, to be quite honest. But moving on, we're going to go over to the refueling section. And this is actually a really neat UI. It looks confusing, but it's really not. What we can do is, on the left over here, we can see our fuel prices. Right now, everything is set to 0. But since I'm landed at ArcCorp, I can hit auto price. And auto price, this only works when you're in space. And it'll be the last place that you landed on. But say we wanted to set hydrogen's price at 50,000, quantum's fuel price of 250,000 per SCU. We can lock those prices in. And when someone gets fuel from you, they have to pay it. They have to pay your prices. I don't have any fuel loaded up into these containers, which I would have to do sitting in the pilot seat. But if I did, it would tell me how much fuel is in these pods. We're going to go over that later on a separate video about how to actually refuel with the Starfarer, not in this video. So it says, hey, please deploy the boom to allow docking to your ship. We'll go ahead and hit deploy, and that boom is going to actually come out. We're going to check that out when I get off of this terminal. We can go in here and we can set how fast the fuel is going to flow, fast over here or slow to the left. And when somebody actually docks with you, they're gonna pull up their mobiGlas and say, hey, I want this much fuel and I want to do all this, and they're gonna pay you, and then you can basically start refueling. You can also terminate the refueling anytime by clicking on terminate, and that'll bring your boom back in. Another option on here is pod management. If you click pod management, it'll bring up your 6 fuel pods in here. And you can, instead of doing it at the fuel pod, you can actually output, intake, or stop any transfer of fuel right here at this fuel pod station. It is pretty neat how that works. You have a flow rate calculator over here telling you your safe flow rate, your current flow rate, if it's green or red. If you go too fast, you're going to leak a bunch of fuel out and things like that as well. And then you can open or close your nozzle to actually transfer fuel. And it'll up here, it'll tell you the scoop, the refinery. You know, this is pretty cool for transferring all the fuel around. And we'll probably do that after I put some fuel in these pods, which we're going to show later, and I'll do this from the bridge terminal. So looking over here, you can see our fuel boom is now deployed. So that is the in-flight refueling that people will actually get when they try to pull up and hot fuel. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move forward. We're going to go to the starboard side just because I want to show you. Oh, it's the stairs. Yep. Very odd ship. I'm going to show you that ladder over here. That ladder does transit up to the maintenance deck. It goes up into a weird maintenance area that's like full of red light. Very odd. Okay, and there's not great signage. Even though there is some signage on the decks, it's just not great. And it's so dark in here. Put some light in here, CIG, please. And here is another cargo overlook looking aft. And you can see the outside of our corp out there. So, moving forward at the center line, we're going to come into this room. Before we get to the bridge, here is the escape pods. Escape pods don't work in Star Citizen, so it's a cool little area you can stand in. It doesn't do anything. There's no interactivity in here at all, but there are 6 escape pods in here. Moving forward of that is the bridge. This is actually a large bridge. This is a large ship. There are no components or anything like that on the bridge to mess with. There's really a very little interactivity here with anything you can do. There is a starboard station over here that has one MFD that you pull up really freaking close to. You can do things with this MFD, manage things, and there's literally no other buttons other than flight ready, which I haven't gotten to actually. So there's nothing else you can do but have one MFD and not pass out with effects of travel. This is the other fuel station right here. We're going to get to that in just a second. This is the captain's seat. From the captain's seat, you actually have 3 MFDs, and that's really about it. You have a center MFD and one over here and one over here. There are literally no other controls for the captain to do over here on his or her ship. Over here in the co-pilot seat, I would go ahead and sit down, but there's really nothing the co-pilot can do either. They have 2 MFDs up there, as you can see, and that's really it for the co-pilot. All the good actions here at the pilot seat. So from the pilot seat, I'll go ahead and make myself flight ready. Okay, so we hear the ship starting up. You can see those engines are fired up, all 3 of them, and we got the fuel boom deployed. The pilot here has 2 MFDs, I'm sorry, 4 MFDs, and he can do different things. So I guess co-pilot has 4 MFDs as well. Pilot somewhere around here also has a open and close exterior button. I did find it at one point. I gotta try to find it again. Engine on, power off, and open exterior, which will also, if you right click it, it'll let you close exterior as well, and do press to unlock. And that's really it for the pilot. The pilot does have control of those size 4 laser cannons, as you can see right there, and they would have access to countermeasures and things like that. Going into missile mode, there is no missiles on here. That would be the Gemini version, where the pilot would have control. I think the pilot has control of all the missiles that come from Gemini. But from here, we're going to go ahead and go into our landing mode. You see, we don't need any service because this is internal to the ship. But if we hit refuel hydrogen manually, you can see that down here we have to fuel up our fuel pods if we're going to try to do any type of fuel ops. All of these are 60 SCU, so the better fuel pod doesn't get you more fuel. Maybe it flows faster or something, but it really doesn't matter. We'll just go ahead and load up, let's say 1.5 SCU into that guy. This is all hydrogen. Do another 1. We'll do like 1.75 SCU into that one. We're going to go ahead and hit buy. It's going to cost me 3.5 thousand Alpha UEC. You can see fuels processing, and it's all loaded up in those tanks. Now you can also put quantum fuel in these tanks, Notice I don't have the tanks that I just filled up. So I have to fill up other tanks with quantum fuel, which is significantly more expensive, right? Just one SCU of quantum fuel here is 45,000 credits. So I'm sorry, not one SCU. That's a million SCU. No, 1,000 SCU. It's 45,000 credits. One SCU would be, I can't even, it's really hard, like 100 credits. Anyway, we'll do something like 6,000 up here, and we'll do some more, do like 17,000 quantum fuel. It'll process that, and boom. So we actually have fuel in our pods now. We'll go ahead and exit the pilot seat, and we're going to head back over to that fuel terminal, and we're going to go ahead and transfer fuel real quick. So we'll head to the refueling side. You can see that now we actually have fuel in here. That's good. So we're going to go ahead and terminate the boom. We're going to make the boom retract because we're not going to try to refuel anybody right here in the hangar, right? That'd be cool though. And you can see we already have our prices already set. We can lock them, unlock them, whatever. But what we really want to go into is our pod management, right? So from here, you can see we have quantum fuel here and quantum fuel here. Let's say we're going to take all of this quantum fuel out of this pod P1 and put it into S2. So we're going to put that out, take that in, and we're going to increase our flow rate. And do I have to open the nozzle? I might have to open. Reduce flow rate. It's too much. I'm spilling. Okay. So nozzle's open. I was hoping this would actually work. Maybe it's not going to. Maybe the boom has to be deployed. I have done this before where I have transferred fuel internally. And it has actually done stuff. You can see right now that this quantum fuel is spilling. To stop that, we would hit stop, right? And it's not going to do it. This quantum fuel is now spilling, and so we want to hit stop again because our flow rate's a little high. This should be in, and this should be out. That's open. Oh, it already transferred all of it. Okay, so you just really have to hover over these guys. Now we're going to want to close. So if we wanted to transfer this hydrogen into this tank, S3, just hover over the dang icons, right? So we're going to hit open. And up here, we're going to hit in. You see how fast that transfers. Let's go ahead and slow it down. We're going to transfer as much hydrogen as we can into this fuel pod. And you can do this while you're refueling. You can increase the fuel rate a little bit. I wish there was like a plus or minus over here. And now all that fuel is in there. And we're going to go ahead and close that and close this. If you leave them open, you will have fuel spill. So all our fuel's now transferred into 2 tanks. That's how fuel transfer works. Okay, it even says goodbye. How about that? Now we are done with the bridge deck, the second deck. We've pretty much done everything there is to do out here. We're now going to go up the stairs here on the port side of the ship, and we are going to head to what I call the maintenance deck, or deck 3. This deck is really confusing, believe it or not. Really confusing. If you know the Starfarer pretty well, it's not too bad. I don't like how that says cargo. That's just a bridge. This saying maintenance is fine because there's these little hatches over here that are maintenance. They're called maintenance areas, even though you can't do anything over there. And then this guy says living quarters. I wonder why it says living quarters. Oh, look how dark it is in here. There's a lift up here. Is it actually down right now? I've had it move automatically. Or up and down. Anyway, there's a lift here that takes you up to the 4th deck, which is, I call it the Habitation deck. It's just right up there. There's also a ladder that you can use because these elevators sometimes get a little wonky. But over here, look how dark it is. You can call the elevator and then you can, do the elevator over there as well. There's also one on the starboard side, which we're going to go head to now as we transit across the ship, because now we're kind of in a weird area, right? It'll be easier to see on the map. But over here is the maintenance area. As we're moving starboard, you see this weird entrance, and it's into this kind of weird maintenance area. We're actually on the starboard side of the ship right now. This would kind of be like midships right here. So as we go forward, it also says living quarters down here, and it's just yet another lift and ladder takes you up to the habitation deck or deck. If we go out this into the starboard side maintenance hatch and we move forward, it's hard to see. Here's a ladder that as you just touch it, it moves you up. I don't want to go up this ladder right now. This ladder takes you to the 4th deck, the habitation deck as well. Does it every time. This ladder that takes you down, that is a ladder that's on the interior catwalk on the starboard side that we passed by a few times. That's what takes you down to the bridge deck if you want to transit manually. Okay. Here's one thing that's unique to the starboard side. It's so dark in here. Only on the starboard side maintenance area do you have this area right here, this little maintenance tunnel with ladders. If you actually go full prone, there's a maintenance crawl space hatch, which I do have on my map, that takes you over here to another maintenance area on the starboard side. This is odd that this is here and it's like this. Again, a throwback to an FPS map, right? Anyway, that is this weird little maintenance hatch. There's no components or anything in there. It's just kind of there. If we go over to the port side, there's stairs over here, and that's why there's no access ladders or anything like that. But if we head aft, we'll see on the port side, there's also a little maintenance area that we have to duck to get into. There's no crawl space, there's no ladders, there's nothing like that. So it's literally just a little maintenance hatch. Okay. Moving aft on the port side, which we are now, we're going to be in this weird little area. These are escape pods over here. These are 3 and 4. 1 and 2 are over there on the starboard side. On the other side of the engine room and gravity generator, which are over here. If we keep moving aft, we're going to hit the turret if we go all the way aft. But over here, it's a little weird. There's this space right here, but there's absolutely nothing here. I would imagine this is the engineering space, but really it's a great place to snipe people in FPS. If we move forward a little bit, you can see back here, this is the engine, and there's a panel that does nothing. But if we move forward, now we're in the midships area, and this is the gravity drive. I believe this is one of the first models of a gravity drive, and it's pretty cool. It looks cool. It doesn't spin or anything, but it does let us transfer from the port side over to the starboard side. Again, on the starboard side, there's these weird areas here where it looks like you could put something. You could hide right here and shoot somebody. Very odd. The engine room access is also only accessible from the starboard side. It is directly midships. This is that one big ass engine that sits in the back. I don't have access to the side engines. There's a terminal here. It doesn't do anything. So really, just have this. Okay. And then over here on the starboard side is escape pods 1 and 2. And if we move aft here, the turret is all the way down there. We're going to check something else out from the gravity room. If we go forward, very weird layout. Yes. We can see that there's, again, these weird little doors. I imagine these are probably suit lockers at some point. But there's also, hey, these are those lifts right here that go to the catwalk. It's kind of hard to see them to see the catwalk, and especially with my suit, that is actually the catwalk, and that is actually vented outside the space. So I hope that is, you know, when you have to vent areas to space, make sure you got a helmet coming in here. This is the elevator that will take you out here, and the elevator I got stuck on the other day. This elevator will take you to the port side out there on the catwalk as well. You can call that elevator right here. So, ways to get down to the bridge deck. We're going to go ahead and hit up the starboard side, and we're going to go outward. We're going to go down this long ass tunnel. Room for a bunch of stuff, but there's nothing in here. There is another maintenance area. I call them the red rooms over here on the port side. Again, like FPS tunnels where you can hide and kill people. There's nothing in there to do at all. As we move further aft on the starboard side, we can see outside we have a nice little window. We can see one of the engines. You can kind of see what's going on over there, sort of. But as you keep moving aft, you will run into the aft turret, which is a ventral turret, and that means it is on the bottom. So we will flip around, and we now see the floor of our ship. It's a man turret. These are size 3s. So 2 size 3s. You can hit this. There is no real MFD in here, and everything is also backwards. It has an identical turret on the port side. So that's for your crew to fire at people who are, I guess, trying to refuel and then attack you or something. I'm not quite sure. There is no transit over to the starboard side because of how the ship is designed. So you got to go through the gravity room, the gravity generator room, back over here, and then now here we are on the port side. And as we go back, there's another little maintenance area over here. Nothing in it, just kind of artwork. And again, we have these nice little windows. All the way in the back, we have another turret, and it's exactly like the turret we were just on. So now we need to go up to the 4th deck. Well, what are our options? Our options are not to take the lifts up here by the gravity. That's going to take us down to deck 2. We want to go all the way forward. And here we can transit to the starboard side. And again, there's a ladder right here. Takes you to the 4th deck, the habitation deck. Or you can come up here and take one of these 2 lifts that takes you to the habitation deck. So we'll go ahead and do that. Call our lift. I think it's on there. Okay. Now we're up here on the habitation deck. You can also take that ladder. So this is also confusing, but you can orient yourself with turrets. There's a turret right here. To the left of the turret is the port side elevator and ladder. To the right of it is the starboard side elevator and ladder. Directly ahead is the forward turret. Entering the forward turret, this has probably the best gun on the ship. This thing has size 4s on it. And there we go. Looks like it just has 2 of them. I meant to put 4 on it. That was a mistake. But again, at least these things are right side up, the text on there. But this is your forward firing arc. You can top side firing arc. It's your dorsal turret. Okay. Exiting the turret. We're almost done with the whole ship tour. As big as the ship is, it's really not that big. It's just very... Okay, so going on the port side, entering this door, we have a nice little window over there, and we have all of the beds. This is the crew quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beds with MISC logoed sheets. Looks like storage lockers, but there is no actual storage on these lockers, so you can't get into them and do any type of ship storage. Moving forward of that, we are now in another storage area, but I'm just calling this the head because there's basically waiting rooms, even though you can't sit down over here. Then there is a male head and a female head up here. Inside the head is a sink, a toilet, and a shower right above the toilet, affectionately called the shoilet. Here, see what you look like on the Starfarer. Who cares? You're full of fuel and grease. And there you go. Another identical head with the female head. So that is the crew quarters. Exiting the crew quarters and going aft, directly aft, is the galley, the communal area. This is where the crew can hang out and talk. You actually have a skylight out here so you can kind of see what's going on above you and the stars. Again, not a whole lot of lighting. The galley is lit well, really well. But over here, you'll be able to prepare food and meals and stuff like that. And over here is the table to eat. I believe you do have seats where you can sit. Right next to the galley, very weird, is the captain's quarters. So in here is the captain's stateroom. This is the captain's office with a captain's desk, no chair for the captain, a terminal that doesn't work. Got some screens back here with nothing. There's no windows in here for the captain to see or look at anything. There is a window in the captain's actual sleeping quarters, though. So the captain has a bed with these special planetary sheets and really weak pillow. And then we have the captain's head with a sink, toilet, and a shoilet. So even the captain has a shoilet. Pretty poor design, if you ask me. And maybe it won't let me out. The captain's office. There we go. Exiting the captain's office, headed back towards this turret. We have one more place to go, and that's this door right here on the starboard side. And what do you know? It is the ladder that goes down to the little maintenance area on the starboard side. We'll go ahead and gauge that ladder. It likes to pull you up regardless. And see, now we're in the little maintenance area with the other ladder. And we can leave this way. Here's that elevator that took us up to the habitation deck. Now, how do we get down? I guess that's kind of the problem. Panel here with nothing is it's very confusing how to move up and down, right? Port side, starboard side, stuff like that. Well, we're going to go on the port side and we're going to go down the stairs. Okay, now we're down the stairs. Well, here's this interior catwalk over here. Well, how do I get down from here? Well, you got to go to the starboard side. But you can't just go to the starboard side. You got to go to the starboard side aft. Even though this ladder well's over here, you have to go aft. Aft. And over here is the stairway that takes you down to the cargo deck. This is the only way down to the cargo deck. And then now we're back on the cargo deck. Docking collar up here. And the main door here. Okay, guys. That is the MISC Starfarer tour. Now, yeah, we didn't fly the ship. We didn't take it up. We didn't take it out of the hangar. It is pretty slow, but it's not as slow as something like a Polaris or an Idris, but it is pretty slow. It lands okay. It flies okay. If you want to see how it flies and things like that, please check out my other video I did on this. Even though it's 4 years old, mechanics were really haven't changed, and I don't want to fly the ship around and do all kinds of stuff without the new flight model coming out. So I really just wanted to give a tour to help prevent you from being lost on the Starfarer. I'm going to do another video just for refueling, and so look for that as well. Both of those videos should hit at the same time because they're going to be tied into the map. So speaking of the map, let's hit myself back up and let's check out a local version of the map and see how that works. And I will say goodbye in real life, but right now in game, I'll see you guys the next time. Thanks for watching the video so far. Stay tuned for the map. We'll see you in the next one. Good night, Stan. Hey, folks, so now it is time to do the map page version of the part of this video. This actual video is going to go up by itself as well, just to highlight and I guess put forward that we're going to have the map out here already. I got Jawa to get the website updated and we now have the map online at our website, but I wanted to append the end of this video with the map. So you can find the map over at fistandjawa.org. That's all one word. It's A&D, not ING. And the link will be in the description below. You can see the main page here up on the screen that I'm showing right now. And let's actually zoom in, and we will check out what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and go to full screen so you guys can get that experience. So now we're here at the map, or I'm sorry, we're at the website, and at the top of the website, you're going to see a column that says ships. Just highlight over that, and you can drop down here. You can go to the Idris ship page, the Polaris ship page, or the Starfarer ship page under MISC. Go ahead and click on Starfarer, and it takes you to just a general ship page with some stuff. The Starfarer, a little blurb that those are going to get updated, but it has the first video I did back in 2021 in patch 3.14 on the Starfarer. That's the Gemini up there, but it also has some links. It'll take you straight to Urkel.games with the loadout that you can get to, the SC Ships Performance Viewer, and most importantly, the interactive map, which we're going to go over now. So you can either click on the actual map link or click on interactive map button, and it'll open up a brand new tab, which you can then, manipulate the map with. So as we're looking here at the MISC Starfarer, it takes you onto deck 1, the first deck you get onto. Really, there's only, unless you're going into turrets, there's really only 2 decks you need to worry about. It's deck 1 and deck 2. But the first deck is the cargo hold. I did have to repurpose this map from an older map that someone made, I think roughly like 7 years ago. I found it on Reddit because the internal ship map of the Starfarer was pretty poor. It didn't give you a whole lot of locations to route to, and it just didn't look good. As I went through each one of the decks, the detail just was not there on that internal ship map. There's better detail on other maps, and maybe that's because the Starfarer needs to have a refresh. But regardless of that, just like Google, you can kind of zoom in and zoom out. You can grab the map with your left mouse button or your finger and move it around as you want. It has a little bit of an overlay with the rest of the ship, the different decks of the ship. As you go in, you can zoom in pretty far. If you zoom in far enough, you will get all the tooltips to display, like the jump seats, the cargo deck, entrance ramp, things like that. As you zoom back out, you can click on each one of these markers as well, and it'll give you a picture and some details, like the main cargo deck of the Starfarer holds 291 SCU. If we go up to the docking collar, it'll show you a picture of the docking collar. There's just not that much to see on the cargo deck. The entrance ramp over here, etc., etc. And then you can zoom back out. You can move that around. If the zoom kind of gets you messed up, there's a button on the lower left that says reset zoom. Just go ahead and click that. It'll reset it back to default. Now, up here on the deck selector, we can go up to, it's on cargo deck. We can choose bridge deck, and it'll load up the bridge deck on here. And I try to make it as intuitive as I can, that you do have to go up. That only way to go up is those stairs on the starboard side of the ship. Then once you're on this deck, you have the catwalk, which is technically on the second deck. So that one is highlighted here. And then it shows you the way up to the third deck is through the stairs. But there's also other icons here, like the lifts from the outside, the port lift to the maintenance deck, which you click on that, it'll show you what the lift looks like. That's out here on the catwalk. What the cargo bay overlook looks like, the actual catwalk itself, and then where all the terminals are at over here. I tried to match the colors best I can, really, with black and white. But the exterior fuel terminal, where all the other fuel terminals are on the ship, and you can click on these markers, and then you can click off of them as well. It also indicates where the ladders are. This is the ladder from the bridge deck to the maintenance deck, and where the escape pods are, and then all the bridge stations in here as well, like the pilot seat. Okay, you click on the pilot seat, it gives you access to quad size 4 M6A laser cannons. That's been bold, so you can click on a station and kind of know what it's going to be able to do. The idea is to update it in the future as well. So from this deck, we can move up to the maintenance deck real quick. And the only reason I think you really need to go up here is to probably either transit to the 4th deck or to get to the rear turrets there in the back. I do have an issue with the 2nd deck and the 3rd deck. If you look where these lifts are on the 3rd deck, the maintenance deck, these actual lifts right here, those take you down to the exterior catwalk. But because of the scale of these 2 decks in the map that I used, those lifts do not align with each other. I have one lift over here, one lift over here, and that's just not how they align. But I tried to make it as visually easy as I could and still have the rest of the ship map correctly. So one day in the future, I will have to fix that when CIG has a better internal ship map. But regardless of that, it still does work. From the maintenance deck, there are definitely ladders to take you down to the 2nd deck, up to the 4th deck. There's an elevator that takes you up to the habitation deck, the escape pods, and you go back towards the turret here. Again, there's pictures. It tells you what weapon is on there and what firing arc it has as the ventral turret, the gravity drive, all that kind of stuff. There's just not that much to do up there. And then you can finally go up to the habitation deck, which if you want to sleep in your ship, okay, you can go in the captain's quarters and go sleep up there in his or in the captain's special sheets, or you can go into the crew quarters section. We don't have hygiene yet, so the head is pointless. And then there is that turret on the forward turret on the habitation deck, which has the dual size 4 rhino laser repeaters. They are size 5 on the Gemini, and it gives you the 3 different ways to get down back to the 3rd deck. There's those 2 lifts up here. Those do align with deck 3, and then that ladder that takes you down to deck 3 as well. And really, that's about it for the Starfarer map. I hope this helps clear up confusion if you're doing any type of weird Starfarer missions, or you just have a Starfarer. Unfortunately, I can't do the refueling video right now because 4.2 refueling is completely broken, and I can't help that. I've tried it many different ships, many different ways, and every time a ship docks, it bounces a Starfarer 10 clicks out or something like that. If you guys do like this map and you like the work that we're doing, please feel free to click on that donate button up here and help us keep the lights on. You can do a PayPal donation straight to Fist and Jawa, and you can donate whatever. You can donate $1. I don't care, but it's $5. Whatever. If you want to help us keep the lights on. That's the donate button. If you want to check out our YouTube channel, you can come up here and support us by subscribing or donating. If you click on our YouTube, you can subscribe to the channel. I will link a refueling tutorial on there that works, and then once refueling works again, I will link my own tutorial on there. And then if you want to see the actual Starfarer video that I did 4 years ago, you can click on that link as well. All that stuff will take you to where you need to go. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, and bye dirty.